Yes, g'day. And as you know, here at Any Given Sunday, we're proudly sponsored by our good friends at Nut Care. They've got awesome products like this bear nuts that I've got here. TMac, I think you've got the comfy nuts and the wood, I believe. Wood.
Yep.
Danny's got the comfy nuts. You've got wood and bear butts. So Any Given Sunday, proudly sponsored by the guys at Nut Care. You plug in Any Given Sunday at the checkout on the Nut Care website. 10% discount will be automatically applied. Nut Care, they've been voted one of the fastest growing #1 men's grooming brands in Australia by Men's Health Fitness magazine. Start the year with a game changer. Yeah,
Delicious. We're back to...
You're joking. You don't have the...
I've got it. It's in there. It just doesn't want to play. It might play in a second.
All right. Well, we'll give you a moment.
It's just working its shit out. If it doesn't, I'm just going into it. We'll bugger it. Yes. Hello and welcome to the Any Given Sunday Australia podcast, the #1 podcast in at least 3 households, 1 studio, Gridiron Australia head office, NFL Australia head office, some plane around the world, wherever Danny is flying at the moment. He's in transit. We've been told.
The whole continent of Europe.
The entire continent of Europe. Where has he been? We list off a few.
He was everywhere. So
he was Germany, Ireland,
Denmark,
UK. Yeah, everywhere. We are #1 and we are growing. We are coming into a fresh 2024. You're looking very fresh after a big New Year's, I'm sure, at TC24, wherever you are, mate. At Tim Cuddy AGSAU, I should say. How are you, TC?
Yeah, good. No, New Year's was very quiet, but then the last couple of nights at work weren't so much. So this is all fake. It's always very tired behind this. It's crying behind these eyes.
You actually have a little bit of a thing in our group. Well, it was definitely from me. This, for someone who can be so tired, you always look so bloody good. It's annoying, really.
It's kind of you to say. It's a lot of moisturizer, a lot of what is this? What is this? Oh!
I'm back, baby. I'm back.
Oh boy!
Straight off the plane, straight into this. Couldn't miss it.
Oh, straight to the studio. What a legend.
Straight off the plane. How are you, mate? Oh, he's cracking a few.
Got to celebrate with the boys.
Yes, daddy boy. Fuck yeah.
I'm so glad you boys have been holding the ship while I've been gone. But yeah, you listed majority of the countries, also hit Norway and Sweden as well. But what an amazing trip. Happy to be back. Great time to be back because, oh man, someone needs to rally these Philly boys and get them in line. Since I've been gone, so downhill.
Oof. And there's been a lot of chirping coming your way from the AGS fam too. So there's been a few people pretty keen to have you back in the hot seat, which is exciting.
Yeah, and that's the main reason I'm back, just to cop more shit.
Fucking duck and dodging.
A couple of left rights. Just get out behind those Philly boys and make sure that they have gone downhill. And it is a talking point if I have a look at our rundown. So we won't get too deep into it too early, but it is great to have you back, Danny. And you're looking a bit scraggy last time we saw you. You've got a little bit fresh. The mow is all freshed up. It's good.
Yeah, I had to get all freshened up to get back to work. But yeah, feeling very pasty, especially compared to you two. You guys are glowing. Summer does wonders for you both.
Plenty of golf for me.
Yeah, we actually haven't had that much good weather yet. It's today's a pretty good one, but yeah, we're waiting on summer to sort of hit properly still.
Oh mate, I just come from -11, so anything better than that.
Yeah.
The rain is still warm. All right, let's get into it, boys. We've got, last week we had, I think it was 24 or 26 teams. We've still got 20 teams left in contention for the playoffs. So it's 11 on the NFC side, 9 on the AFC side. So still hotly contested leading into this playoff series.
Most since 1982, I think I saw a stat.
Ooh, I didn't have the stat. That's a juicy one from you, mate.
For the last week of the year. Yeah, I could be making it up. Who knows?
No one's going to fact check us. That's the main thing.
Fact check me. Come at me.
Just before we do get into it, just got to mention the linked tree. Make sure you get onto it. We have had a couple of prize packs. We'll quickly mention this. A couple of prize packs sent out to the winners of our fantasy comp, Commissioner Cardi. You want to have a chat about that quickly?
So stand by. I will just quickly get up our stats and winners. So any given Sunday. So we're lucky enough. We had enough interest to get 3 different leagues going. We jumped into all 3 leagues, so it was good fun. The winner of League 3 was mid-table mediocrity, and then the winner of the lower bracket, so the toilet bracket, that was Al Red Jet. So well done to you guys there. In League 2, we had Esteemed Outlaw was our fantasy Super Bowl champ, and our toilet lower half of the bracket was our one and only hostess with the mostest, TMac, Thomas McMillan.
Did I?
Yeah.
No
idea. I don't know if that's you're the worst or you're just the best of the lower half, but I'm going to go with it.
I think it's the best of last place. So you're second last.
Yeah, and so then the winner of League 1, Vince Mapstone, FF, and again the lower bracket was hostess with the mostest, TMac.
Great.
So you took out 2 toilet trophies.
Vince is he's been big on our YouTubes in the past, so huge shout out to Vince. Well done to him.
Well done to all those guys. So all the winners there taking out an AGS prize pack. They're getting a jumper of their choice and a NFL themed AGS t-shirt or NFL team themed AGS t-shirt. I'm rocking the Seahawks. You got the pack on, is that?
I do. But yeah, make sure you hit up our link tree. You'll find all those. I'm sure we'll get photos of the lads in their merch when they get it. Yes. But also our DAZN Game Pass code, which is heading into the playoffs. It's as cheap as chips, and you're going to get every game because not every game is going to be available to us. So we need to make sure that you are across every game because it's going to be as hotly contested as it has been in years. So moving on to some news, which is brought to us by our good friends at C2C Rare Threads. Make sure you hit these guys up. They've just had a massive sale. So unfortunately, you've probably... Oh, no, still says it. Buy one, get one, 50% off. Huge. Make sure you hit these guys up. Real good content and real good stuff that they have up in Gold Coast. If you're ever up there, make sure you visit their store as well. Any given Sunday is the code for an extra 10% off that as well. So some news coming out. Well, we've just had the Pro Bowl teams named. If you boys looked over those teams, or is anyone in that? We probably don't need to go through the entire team. Is there anyone in the team that either surprises you or you thought would be an absolute lock?
No surprises for in the team yet. Normally, I find the most controversy is around the people left out, and I haven't got my head around the ins and outs just yet. But I reckon watch this space. I reckon there'll be people kicking off about someone that's been left out who deserved to be in. Don't know who it is yet, but there'll be someone.
Well, you can't in the quarterback ranks. There's been 53 quarterbacks, so you can only pick so many. There's only 3 per team.
So how does it work? Because if you get introduced as Pro Bowler, this and that, say once you're retired, 5-time Pro Bowler, is this just being selected enough? You don't actually have to play in the game.
Well, a lot of the teams, obviously, the QBs they're playing in the big ones. So
yeah, that's right.
They're not going to play playing in the Pro Bowl because they'll be hopefully playing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So it looks like the Niners have had the most selected with 9.
I got 9, yeah.
Which is not a surprise, really.
No,
and Brock got QB1, didn't he? And Tua on the other side.
Yeah. You would have thought the Eagles would have a few in there. Are you disappointed or are you happy?
With the Pro Bowl voting coming on in the past couple of weeks, I'm not really surprised whatsoever that there isn't that many Eagles in there.
Bit of a drop-off.
Yeah, not too bad. Still got 6 in there. I think there was 3 teams that weren't represented: the Commanders, the Patriots, and probably the
Carolina
Panthers. I got to assume.
Yeah.
Packers.
So.
Sorry, Packers. None.
Uh-oh.
Wow.
No, that's
the Packers are playing well, but they're also young. So some of this Pro Bowl, even we'll get that voting is as much as it's the teams that are hot right now, but also a little bit of popularity contest as well.
Oh, it's a huge popularity contest.
It's all political.
Yeah. But it is. It's always interesting. But it was just a nice little mention that Brock Purdy got number 1 and Tua number 1, like you said before. So shout out to those boys and Brock, especially. He's struggling only on $800,000 a year. This is a nice little bonus that he'll get going forward.
Only.
Yeah, poor bastard. Now I do want to get on to your Eagles, Danny boy, but before we get onto them, the struggles seem to have created a little bit of tension by the sounds of it. And it sounds like it's coming from AJ Brown inside of the camp. What have you heard? What are your thoughts? You're the inside man. What are you listening, mate?
So, like, AJ Brown's very much like me, wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's not one to, shy away from showing his emotions. And we've seen that earlier in the year when he was blowing up, when he wasn't getting many receptions on the side of the field with Jalen Hurts. But he came out and said, like, they're best mates. They're best mates off the field. It's just like we're competitors and we want to win. That's why we are so emotional with one another. Like, don't read too much into it. And now it's come out that apparently he was hating on Nick Sirianni due to his tentative play calling, I guess we'll say, in the end of the Cardinals game, where they settled for a field goal. They probably could have pushed a little bit harder, and then the Cardinals came back and had that touchdown on their final drive to steal the game away from the Eagles, which is a 12-loss team going against a team that started 10-0. But ever since then, there's been a steady decline. But, yeah, with AJ Brown, he's come out and openly said that it's not anything to do with Sirianni. Like, he respects Sirianni. They're going to ride him to the end. They're going to ride Brian as well, the offensive coordinator, to the end. And they're happy with the decisions that has been made. I think it's just a bit of media speculation, really. Just trying to create some drama.
Well, yeah. So on that, when the Bills were struggling in the first half of the year, it was all about the locker room digs and Josh Allen weren't getting on. It just feels like an easy narrative to write. When you're winning, everything's fine. When you're losing, obviously everything stands out. And it's just an easy narrative to try and drive. Oh, there's locker room disharmony, all that sort of stuff. So I think I tend to agree with you, Danny Boy. Like, it's just an easy one for the media outlets and people like that to jump on board with.
And it's not the first time I jumped on with AJ Brown because he's an emotional man. But fair enough. Like, you got so close. And I was speaking to some guys at work about the Eagles and how it probably would have been a little bit of a missed opportunity last year with, like, the way that we're going. And I can understand, like, where his frustrations are going to be coming from because you were so close. You were so close to having it all. And then for this season, not really to be going the way that everyone kind of wanted it to, especially losing some of the games that we have recently. It's just a bit of a tough time to be an Eagle, to be an Eagles fan. So I can understand where his emotions come from.
Yeah.
But you can change the narrative however you want to change it. Like, I think we spoke about it last week or the week before, Cards, is, you can say that you're a little bit more battle-hardened now that you've gone through these losses and the losses that you needed to have. You can,
Yeah.
So the media just wants to paint it the way they want to, where we're part of the media. We can paint it however. The Eagles are actually flying internally. They're actually on top of each other, and they love it.
When was the Ravens taking out the Super Bowl? Was that 2012? Let's say roughly. Yeah. They had the exact same for the last 5 games, the exact same win-loss record. So they won in overtime, 3 losses, 1 win, and now another loss. And they went on to win the Super Bowl that year. So as much as it doesn't really bode well in our favor right now, you never know. Playoffs are a different game.
They did have Joe Flacco back then.
2013, Flacco and the Ravens won that.
Beat the 49ers. We might as well speak about the actual game. It was a bit of a fair bit of an upset. Did you see much of it, Danny? And, what are your thoughts? Late touchdown to, oh, God, I forgot his name. The running back for the Cardinals. Bit of a heartbreaker. I switched over and saw halfway through and I thought you guys were cruising and turned back and you lost. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, definitely seemed like they took the foot off the gas going into that second half. Like I said, the play calling on the Phillies' final drive was very, very tentative. It was just like, trying to keep it safe. But the drive before that, they went back to the way the Philly has been playing and the way they were playing last year, where it was like, hit it to your running back, do everything on the ground, like just grind, pound like that. You got one of the best offensive lines. Use them. Like, use them to your advantage. Like, don't just let Jalen sit back in the pocket where he wants to be. Like, run the ball. But, yeah, they had a couple of plays. I think they called 2 QB, like, design runs in a row, which they both got stopped. And the play calling towards the end just really wasn't ideal. It's like, you don't want to be losing, especially like I looked at the rest of the schedule after our 3 losses in a row. I was like, oh, cool, we got the Giants, Cardinals, and Giants. We're going to cruise towards the end. It's almost like the longest yard. Get a couple of reps underneath your belt before you go into the finals. Try and go in with a little bit of confidence. And it's just hasn't really panned out that way. I think there is stuff that is going on. I know you're saying they might be flying high internally. I do really think there's stuff going on internally, and we just need to get a little bit more continuity. Swift playing phenomenal still, though. Like, if we just can keep on feeding him and getting him going and, really use that running back room that's so deep. You got Kenneth Gainwell and Boston Scott. Like, they could be RB1s on any other team. So use them. Like, if Swift's getting tired, just keep on. It's what's working for us at the moment. So just stick to it.
It was James Conner that scored the touchdown, by the way, just so you know. But before we move on, are you happy to be having the Giants in the last game? Realistically, should get the job done, or would you rather a bit more of a tougher?
Oh, well, now the question comes to, like, are you going to sit everyone and try and keep everyone as fresh as possible going into the playoffs? I don't think they should. They're not playing well enough.
Get them playing.
They're not playing well enough as together, especially the defense. Our defense is shocking. Like, there is so many holes on that defense. We spoke with Charlie at the start of the season. Was it Charlie or was it Laurie? I think it was Laurie, and he was asking me, like, how do you feel about the secondary going into this season? I was like, not good. Like, there is no depth. And you have a few injuries, like Slay went out and Bradbury went out, and it was just like your secondary just went absolutely to shit. So I was right at the start of the season saying that we didn't have enough depth, and it's just absolutely showing. So, yeah, going in to face the Giants, it should be a win, but it probably won't be because we're just playing pathetic. So who knows? They really need to play everyone, but do they just play for the first half to try and get a big enough lead and then bench everyone so no one gets injured? It's just tough. It's just not the way I thought this season was going to end, especially starting 10-0.
You can't miss playoffs, can you?
No, we're locked. We're locked.
You are locked in? Yeah, so that is a tough one. We'll see in the second half the way they're thinking. Like, you won't go any lower than fifth. So you're either fifth or probably second. Yeah,
which is crazy. Like, such a big discrepancy.
But you're going to need the Cowboys to lose. Any other games that stuck out to you, Carts?
Stand by. I had a bit of a look at the Raiders and the Colts. Obviously, both teams kind of playing to stay alive. Obviously more so the Raiders, but knocked out. A bit disappointing. But yeah, Minshew Mania and the rest of the Indy boys got it done. I think Jonathan Taylor, the running back for the Colts, he was a big part of the difference. As much as our defense has been kind of what's held us up a little bit in the few games that we have won, just couldn't seem to get stops when we needed to. And yeah, unfortunate, disappointing way to finish out. Would have been cool to just make the playoffs and just on a whim and see what happened. But I think the other big game we want to talk about was the Lions and the Cowboys and just how that one ended off. The two-point conversion that the Lions went for 3 times, no less, which massive big steel balls on MCDC going for it 3 times. First time it was
successful.
But what was the flag for? It was
so ineligible downfield.
Was that the first one?
Yeah, they got the first one, and then they stuffed up the second one with the flag on the defense, and then the third one was stopped.
The flag, yeah. So the third one was the stop. Yeah. Correct. Yeah. So obviously all the controversy around the call of whether Decker had nominated eligible or not, and because the Lions were kind of doing, it's called eye candy, so like making it look like one thing when it might be another. And so did they make it too complicated for the refs, or should the refs just be better at their job and know what's going on? Because even though they've been briefed before the game, so just a lot of talk and controversy around that. So yeah, it was exciting. It was an exciting finish. It was a good game.
It did stuff up their chances of they were still in contention for the number 1.
Yeah, they were. They'll still get a home playoff game, I believe. They can't. They've obviously locked down the division, so they'll get a home playoff game there. But yeah, they were a chance to go for number 1. But I think the Ravens had to lose though too, didn't they?
No, the Cowboys, they would have been, 49ers.
49ers.
The NFC. So the 49ers, they would have been equal with the 49ers coming into this week. Where now just the 49ers can do whatever they want this week, which they are, they've already, McCaffrey's sitting and Brock Purdy's sitting. So they're taking advantage of that extra week.
Yeah. Yeah, well, because McCaffrey sort of strained his calf. Calf.
And so they should, especially after everything that happened last year. They
injuries with the downfall, weren't they, against you boys? Yeah. But I think I heard Shanahan say that they're going to not risk McCaffrey, give him at least 2 weeks.
Yeah,
2 weeks.
By the way, 2 weeks between games.
A little bit finicky.
I just want to say well done to my Packers. It was a good win. I'm not going to dwell on it because I think the Vikings were a bit depleted. So I do think we should have won, and maybe not by 23 points, but I'm happy with it. And we also won a multi in our group, so that's even better for us. Yeah, but this time, well, not this time, but early you can say from this time last year, there was teams that were just talking to the Ravens and being, you know what, Lamar's not happy. Do we try and get him out? People didn't want to pay him what they wanted to pay him, or what he wanted. The Ravens finally, which was a week before the season, worked it out and got him on there. After week 17, he's now MVP favourite, and they've just knocked off the Dolphins, which Danny has said numerous times cannot beat a team above 500, so they are not going anywhere. 56-19, and he accounted for 5 touchdowns in that game. You think a few teams are, New England one is one that comes to mind. They're going, shit, maybe we should have pulled the trigger.
Well, like that, just on the Ravens, it needs to be, that game was phenomenal. Like, to throw five touchdowns, just give him the MVP now. Honestly, I personally think it's done. And I had money on Jalen Hurts way back at the start of our 5-game win streak at the very start. And obviously financially, I don't want him to get it, but he will. With the way that they're playing and what he's done with that Ravens side. But you say, if he had gone to the Patriots, would have been different, probably slightly different. But the team that they've built around them they've got some weapons. They drafted really well. And they, players have gone down and other players have stepped up. And I think if he had gone to any other side, I don't know if it would have ended the same way that it would have. I don't think he would have had as successful season as he would have stayed in Baltimore. And that's where he wanted to be at the end of the day. I think it was all a little bit of smoke and mirrors just to try and get as much money and as much guaranteed money as he possibly could.
Yeah, it was just weird because he was his own agent. So it's kind of unprecedented going for one of the biggest deals in NFL history, representing yourself. But yeah, totally. It made sense. Like, stay in Baltimore. It's the offense that you're familiar with, you're comfortable with, your teammates that you're comfortable with, get weapons in. Everything pointed towards Lamar having a good season. And he stayed healthy too. There was a lot of talk about if he could stay healthy. He stayed healthy. He's been dominant. Like, the Ravens have been putting teams away. Like, smashing.
To the sword.
Yeah. So. And
then they got the number 1 defense to match.
Yeah, they're teaching a few teams a little lesson with that defense, aren't they?
Like, as much as I shit on the Dolphins for not beating any team above 500, they still are a strong team, and they normally do compete when they're versing a team above 500. But like, for the Ravens to put on the absolute show that they did, Dolphins just didn't have a single answer for that Ravens team.
And lost in the last 4 minutes. One of their big defensive boys, ACL, went down the last 4 minutes of the game, down by 30 or whatever it was, 39.
Jerome Baker.
Yeah, so not great for the Dolphins there. Not good news.
All right, let's get on to, before we talk about a couple of the games that are coming up in a massive Week 18, the number 1 segment that we do have, Cardi. It's a busy time of the year, so obviously I don't have a new sting for you, but it will come. It will come one day. But the number 1 lock of the week, talk about it.
So round 17 results, Danny Boy had the Bills. Tick. You move on to 9. TMac, late Hail Mary call. You took the Chiefs. You move on to 9. You actually reminded me that I had to still do my pick. Busy time of year, as you said. I took the Chargers because fucking Broncos, but of course the Broncos won. So I stay pretty there on 10. And Charlie took the 49ers.
Twice now you've picked against the Broncos and they've beaten.
Oh, mate, it's the fucking Broncos. It's in my tipping. It's in my lock of the week. They're out to fuck me. So starting to develop a lot of hate for the Broncos.
Gross.
And Charlie took the 49ers. So Charlie and myself on 10. You and Danny on 9. So what we're going to do, moving into week 18, depending on results, week 18 will be the last week. If there is a tie situation, we'll utilize playoff weeks as we go until we have a final loser.
So there has to be a 1-out loser, is that what you're saying?
Has to be a 1-out loser.
Wow.
We don't want no tiebreakers. We want one single loser. So this week, week 18, lock of the week, Danny Boy, fire away with yours, please.
I'm going to jump on the Cowboys, take it on the Commanders, because they've still got the chance to clinch the number 1 spot in the division, and I can't see them resting in order to do that. If they're going to get home field advantage, go all in.
I've still got plenty to play for. I like that. Danny Boy with the Cowboys. TMac, hostess with the mostest.
Well, first off, Charlie hasn't written in, but we will get him before the start of the games. I'm a little bit different at Danny. I'm going to not go for a team that is absolutely a shell-in to win. I think I've left it for the last. I believe it's the last game. I'm going to go the Dolphins to beat the Bills.
Woo! Ooh.
Yeah.
Massive. The Bills have so much to play for still.
They do, but so do the Dolphins. So
a couple of injuries to the Dolphins as well, not influencing you.
I'm saying the Dolphins will get the job done.
I love it.
It's getting spicy.
I love it. I dare say we might have a result at the end of week 18. Obviously, as you said, we're waiting for Charlie's pick. We'll get that through before the games. I'm going to take the Bucks. The Bucks against the Panthers, really going out on a limb there. Bucks, plenty to play for. Panthers, nothing to play for. They stink. Their season's over. I just need to fucking lock this in and not lose. So
yeah, we can see out of the three of us who have the agates.
I just need to consolidate, sit out front and consolidate.
I did that 4 weeks ago and I've lost every case.
Yeah, I know.
I got a quick question without notice for you boys.
Mm.
The Panthers, let's say the Panthers lose. What's their plan moving forward? Are they going to move on from Bryce or are they going to hold on? Because obviously he has come in and not done everything they wanted him to do.
Mm.
They don't have the number one pick either. They've solidified the number one pick, but it goes to the Bears. So they can't move on from him yet. Like and Cart says it all the time. You got to give him more than 1 year, but they definitely have to. He's been sacked a ridiculous amount of times, and having a second off season. If he has another season like this, then it might be the same. But I think he's going to have to get at least 5-6 wins or being on that edge of playoffs this time next year to be saying, all right, now we'll go forward. But he needs weapons and he needs protection.
Yeah, Bryce, yeah. Well, and so just rolling with the interim head coach at the moment as well. As we know, Frank Reich got let go during the year, but David Tepper, he's got that, and he was a bit in the news a little bit this week throwing his empty drink or the leftovers of a drink on a Jacksonville fan out of the box. I don't know if you guys saw that video. Pretty funny. But he's got a rep. He's got a rep of wanting results now and quickly. So could be not difficult, but you might find it hard to get the perfect head coach candidate in there, to land a big fish. I know Sean Payton interviewed with the Panthers once and didn't go back because it just wasn't what he was after. So might be hard to land a big fish coach and someone who maybe has a fewer options, still going to be obviously elite if you're interviewing at that level, but you might have fewer options. So then you take the Panthers because you still want to be one of the 32 head coaches. But just the way Tepper is at the moment, you might just have to simmer down a little bit. Like we always say, just give it a little bit of time, let it marinate, give Bryce a bit of time to develop, get some weapons around him, create a bit of culture. But
because the last thing any of us want to see is a rookie quarterback, career get cut short due to the fact that he doesn't have a team surrounding him. So hopefully the Panthers do actually bring in some weapons and stuff like that, so we can actually see what he can do.
Yeah,
especially with this year's draft, it looks like there's a couple of QBs that'll be all right, but funnily enough, I think
are you free agents ticking around as well?
They're all older. All the ones that are left in the playoffs of the college are 24, 25, where Bryce is 23. So I think what it will Carts this time next year. They're 2-14. What are you doing?
Well, you're probably looking at go back to the well.
So,
I don't know. Is 2 years enough? How long is a piece of string? Well, if he hasn't, he has to have shown improvement. They can still lose. He has to have shown improvement and development because it's still going to depend a lot on the weapons around him. It's going to be hard to attract your A1 grade sort of players to a shit team. It's going to take a little bit of time. So he might not have the elite pieces around him yet, but as long as he's shown improvement, you stick with him.
Yeah. I reckon he'd at least 6 wins next year is the minimum.
I kind of disagree. I think it should be based on his own performance because to what I just said, if he doesn't have the pieces around him, but if he is improving, but they just don't, the defense lets him down. They don't have the weapons out there for whatever reason. I think it's hard to say 6 wins or you're gone. I think it's got to be based off his performance and how he's.
Oh, fair enough. So 6 wins it is. Nice.
Watch this space.
All right. Just a quick one to finish off. We'll have a look at the games. Is there any games that are standing out to you? There's obviously a lot of games that are playoff. The games mean more than ever this week. So,
I think for me,
Danny boy, what games are sticking out to you?
No, jump to Carts. Carts has a good point.
I don't mind. I was just going to say that the Texans and the Colts. So essentially, I think they're playing off for the division and who's going to make. No, not playing off for the division. The Jags are in there as well in that conversation. But this head-to-head game, obviously pretty huge. Sorry, phone was just ringing there. Yeah, sorry about that.
Well, they're all.
Go ahead.
Houston, Indy, and Jacksonville all 9-7.
Yeah, correct. So
the Jags going up against the Titans, though, is probably a big win in their favor, and the Colts and Texans going up against one another. They're both going to be going all out. Like Shane Steichen's
I think loser's not going to make it for the Colts Texans game. Yeah.
Yeah, and Shane Steichen's done amazing things with this Colts team, and losing AR and then like moving on to Gardner Minshew, and like he managed to like to hold the team and like get him to this point is huge. So like if Shane Steichen's not in the mix for coach of the year, well, he bloody should be. But they like the Jags going up against the Titans got a very, very good chance of stealing that away from both those guys.
Yeah, I reckon the Titans would be pretty happy. They got kicked out by Jacksonville last year, so I reckon they'd be pretty happy to spoil the party. Whoever wins out of the other game will jump them if they do lose. So, and like you said, Carts, they're out. Whoever loses is out. So that is a huge game. And nice and early. So we've got 2 games on the Sunday, our time, and then the rest of the games all Monday.
Yeah, it's good.
Correct.
The games are all kind of bunched up.
So make sure you're free on Monday because it'll be nothing but football all day.
Monday's a big day. Big day.
Danny boy?
Just quickly, so I keep jumping.
Right.
And just the Falcons and the Saints, they are playing off for the division. So that will be a big game. And obviously, winner there will go on.
Yeah. Which is pretty crazy because we were all relatively high on the Saints at the start of the year. And then for them to be going up against the Falcons, which didn't have their starting QB for the start of the season, and they're still fighting for it.
And I think the Bucks are in the hunt for the. There's just too many teams too close. The Bucks are in the hunt for the NFC South as well. So Bucks
the classic NFC South.
Yeah, and you've picked the Bucks. So you've saying the other games.
There's just too many teams too close that you need like a big Venn diagram or a big mind map of what has to happen for playoff implications. But it's so hard to keep a track of.
Yeah, and obviously to finish, the Dolphins-Bills is something we're definitely all going to have our eye on, especially to watch TMac lose this lock of the week playoff thing that we're running with right now.
And it'll be done, and then we have to come up with punishment. So that'll be.
I feel like I'm going to be shaving my head or some bullshit thing like that, but that's all right.
Don't put the cart before the horse, mate.
I think a couple of games. Obviously, my boys playing the Bears. Seeing if the key has been passed on officially to Jordan Love. He also, Carts, you sent me something about players that have incentives. He has a $250,000 incentive if we make the playoffs. So winning this game, we are currently sitting 7. So we win, we're in. And that really stuffs up everyone else, which is good. So huge incentives for him to get the job done there. Another couple of games like Steelers-Ravens. Ravens are probably going to be starting to rest players. Have they locked up the number 1 spot? Do we know?
Yep. You got to think they're going to sit a few. Yeah, they've locked in number 1. They've got the week. But then the question is 2 weeks off. Is that too much?
Yeah.
Maybe a half. Maybe they'll get a half into them.
And then playing Pittsburgh, who need to win to get in.
Need to win. So kind of opens the door a little bit for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin's locked in another winning season. So that's huge.
27 in a row, I believe now, isn't
it? For the Steelers, that's crazy.
And...
Just on the Bears Packers, isn't there something? Is it at Lambeau?
It is at Lambeau, yeah.
Isn't there something about the Bears coming into Lambeau that the Packers always take this one out? Is it a stat? Is it not? No?
We've owned the Bears for a lot of years, mate, and I think Rodgers has just handed the key straight over Love. So I can't wait for him to be telling the fans to get fucked. We own you too. Like, it'll be great. So
there was a quick question as well from the YouTube. It could be a question without notice. Millsy wants to know how many coaches you think will be sacked end of regular season.
Ooh. Oh, we're doing a little under-over here. This would be great. Like 2.5.
I like it. So what have we already had? 2 or 3 this year?
Raiders.
Panthers.
Chargers.
That's 3.
That's 3.
Jeez, who else would be sitting on the hot seat?
Well, Arizona have kind of finished off strong, so I reckon that's kept him safe.
Gannon?
Probably Washington.
Yeah, but
well,
Washington's more going to be a move on because the new ownership wants to start fresh, I think.
Well, and the question around Bill Belichick, is he going to move on, stay? It's kind of quieting down a little bit there. Rob Sala at the Jets. Ooh, little ruffian.
Yeah, I think he's in a bit more hot water than what we've seen. So I reckon there's a maybe.
I feel for Rob Sala if he got the boot.
Total for the year will be 6. I'm going with
Another 3, you reckon?
another 3.
Ooh, I'm saying
I
others.
reckon potentially another 1 or 2. So I'm going to say total for the year will be 5.
Ooh.
That's a bit savage.
I reckon only one more. I reckon
okay.
I'm going
You
soft.
guys are way too positive. It's ruthless out there, boys.
It is, but I don't know. I just reckon Atlanta would be the only one that would be thinking there for me, but I reckon they've finished off too strong. Arizona, sorry, not Atlanta.
You got to give people time.
Yeah. So. All right. Good work, boys. Massive week 18. We'll be back next week. Playoff week, which is awesome to think about. Good luck to all of your teams. Cardi, kind of, not really. Doesn't matter. But good luck to our teams.
We're out there to have a bit of fun.
That's it. Crosby might be breaking a sack record or something, I'm sure.
Always going for incentives. That's what we're. Hey, that's what
it. We're all about the boys with incentives. So
we're playing the Broncos. So fuck them Broncos.
It's a Cardi rival game up in here.
Yeah, all I've been here.
The Broncos are taking up 95% of the real estate in Cardi's head right now, so he needs this.
They're not paying a single dollar.
They're rent free. They got me low.
Beautiful. All right, boys. Have a great weekend.
Also,
and go the Packers.
Week 18.
Let's go.